So over the last 4 years, I've increasingly become more occupied with stuff. Literally stuff being hobbies, demanding jobs, responsibilities, side hustles, content creation, and just a whole heap of things that allows me to say the magic words, I'm busy. And from the outside looking in, this is a perception that many people have of me because it seems like I'm doing a lot. So I guess I'm actually busy. Like, who would have thought? Anyways, with this perception comes the recurring question, Stephen, how do you balance everything you're involved in? I've been asked this question so many times in the last 4 years, and my response has always been some constructive bullshit that makes me seem like I'm the most efficient, organized person that has their shit together, when honestly, this is just far from the truth. And this year, I've come to the realization that work-life balance in our lives is actually bullshit. At least for me anyways. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you why. Well, bullshit is a bit of a strong word. I'd say myth is probably more appropriate, but I need an outrageous hook and a thumbnail for you guys to click and watch the video. But anyways, let's break this down. So according to Google, balance can be defined as even distribution of weight, enabling someone or something to remain upright and steady. And that I believe. After all, I'm a Libra, so I'd be crazy not to believe that. The concept of balance is pretty straightforward from that respect. However, this is the definition in the context of balancing objects. So let's just have that in mind. When we actually Google the term balance in life, it actually describes this as the concept of evenly distributing things in your life. It means having enough time for school, work, family, and community, maintaining mental steadiness, emotional stability, habit of calm, behavior, and judgment. All these expectations from one human being, like that's a lot. Like how is that even possible? Like how can we do that? Like, that's actually like just wow. So I've always thought that I'd had decent balance across everything in my life. And for the most part, I thought, yeah, like this works, like balance is actually a thing. But then I did some reflection on various stages of my life to see if I've always had my shit together and been on this endless wave of equanimity, aka balance. So let's see. College is probably when I started to get a taste of what adulthood was like, with undertaking A-levels, trying to get into uni, working a part-time job. And you know, there were periods when things seemed manageable, probably at the beginning of studying. However, as I progressed into exam season, there were times when it was stressful to study intensely, do some overtime to make some money so I could look as fly as my peers, and then navigate the uni application season. And in that sense, I struggled to balance these activities. And this is absolutely fine, but the average productivity guru will come on YouTube and tell you that they have a 25-step plan to ace their A-levels, make 6 figures from their side hustle before the age of 18, and get a full-ride scholarship to Harvard. While some actually achieve this, heavy on the some, i.e. 1%, what they don't tell you is that there were sleepless nights, sacrificed relationships, tough choices to be made, depression, and a whole suite of negative things that come with these achievements. Now, call me crazy, but that doesn't sound like balance to me. But everyone always wants to come across like a superhuman, like there was no effort to achieving great things. So it's kind of cool to portray this, you know, I have everything under control vibe. And I've been guilty of that as well. And I think that's one of the reasons why I used to construct a lot of bullshit when I was telling people, yeah, you know, like I have this, you know, like organized life and plan to like balance everything I'm doing in life. When in reality, that's actually not the case. The way I see it, life works on a sliding scale of priorities, with costs associated with each action. In other words, nothing in life comes free. And this sentiment is something that Simon Sinek explained in the Diary of a CEO episode a while back. And I was kind of gassed to think that a renowned expert corroborated my theory.
My question is always about the balance. So for example, every single good thing that happens in our lives, everything comes at a cost. There's nothing for free. Somebody with an incredible career has no relationship with their kids, right? Everything comes at a cost. But at the same time, everything we struggle with has opportunity and lesson that goes with it. It's always balanced, right? And so whenever anybody tells me this great thing, I'm always like, yeah, but at what cost? And was the cost worth it? Sometimes the answer is yes, and sometimes the answer is no. And when something horrible happens in someone's life or something goes sideways, I always ask, but what did you learn?
Everything we focus our attention on is at the detriment of something else, whether we like it or not. Now, my theory is that balance isn't something that anyone can actually achieve unless you're looking to live a mediocre life, and I'll explain on that further in the video. But the average person progressing through life will have an increasing amount of responsibilities over time, and the expectation of maintaining equilibrium across all of these responsibilities without anything suffering will just mean that they lead a happy, perfect life through the magical words of balance, which is honestly just unrealistic. However, modern society and corporate work culture more specifically convinces you that the reason you may be struggling with juggling your demanding job with the 1001 responsibilities that you have as an adult is because you don't have work-life balance, which I honestly just think it's a gaslight when you actually think about it, because there's so much things to be juggling, and it's kind of like, oh yeah, the reason you're not able to juggle all of these things is because of work-life balance. It's like you can't balance all of these demanding priorities. It's just life. That is how life is actually set up. And then I also blame like our generation as well, like Gen Z. Like, we're such a snowflake generation, and we can't accept the fact that sometimes, in order to, like, life has demands, life has all these various responsibilities, and sometimes you just have to work hard to keep up, and you may not be able to balance it all. But I think Gen Z, it's kind of like, you know, we're such a snowflake generation in the sense that it's kind of like, no, it's hustle culture, no, you should take breaks, you should relax, self-care, this, that, and the third. And like Kim K said, no one just wants to flip in work.
Get your fucking ass up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work these days.
That's basically what it comes down to at the end of the day. And dare I say it, anyone that truly adopts this narrative of work-life balance is probably living a very average, mediocre life. Because let's actually be deep here. Do we think the wealthiest, most ambitious people in the world, your Elon Musk, Kanye, Jay-Z, Zuckerberg, adopt the concept of balance in their lives? Like, be for real. Like, one could argue that now that they're wealthy, they can afford balance, but at least on the come up, I know for a fact balance was non-existent. Like, we've all seen their documentaries and movies. These people are putting 24/7 shifts to like make their dreams a reality. But let's just say, for argument's sake, us regular civilians can't relate to the likes of Zuckerberg and Kanye. Let's just look at the senior execs at your workplace, or that colleague at your work that always seems to be getting a promotion over everybody else. The concept of work-life balance in their life is non-existent, because their ambition to be at the very top of the corporate ladder trumps all of that. And when I look at my life, a lot of my monumental achievements came with a cost. Like, that's just how it happened. That's how the cookie crumbled. So for example, graduating with a first class degree meant that I was isolating myself from everyone in third year and cutting off all my friends to achieve this. Or getting promoted and making more money in corporate meant that I was putting in extra time at work and being at home less. Or trying to grow my social media platforms and being consistent with content meant I was missing out on a few outings and free weekends. And it's not like I was shit at balance. It just wasn't possible to balance all of those priorities. Like, it just wasn't a thing. I couldn't do that. Like, I couldn't equally have time to spend with my friends and then try to grow my social media platforms to a certain extent, or, you know, try to get it first and dedicate my time to studying, as well as, you know, like having multiple friends to go out with on the weekend. It just wasn't possible to do that because I couldn't balance it all. But again, society tells you,
yeah, nah, bro, like, you need to find balance, bro. Like, work-life balance, that's what it's about.
Like, that's dead. Like, it just doesn't work like that. In my view, to achieve great things, balance is just not really a part of the equation. I feel like it's really more about sacrifice than anything. So here are my final thoughts. A balanced lifestyle equals average results. And the sooner we start to accept that as a society, I feel like the world will actually become a better place. But that's just me. Let me know what you think in the comments.